Okay, now let's take a look at the setup for the TT685 if you want to use that off camera with the X1 system. Just like on the AD362, we start off in basic Ettl mode. This is a speed light. This is a Canon speed light. Same thing with the Nikon version of this. You can use this in the hot shoe of your camera and use it like a regular speed light. Here we're going to talk about how to use this and use it off camera and set it up with the X1 transmitter. Same thing as we do for our super flash. We come over here to our little ziggy-zaggy button and we hit it once. It goes into the standard Canon wireless system with the lightning bolt. That's not what we want here. That's using the optical infrared white light system that's built into all the Canon flashes. We don't really need that since we've got radio. We want to use the radio system. Hit it again, goes to slave. Now we're into the radio system, but we're in master. We want to hit it one more time, and now we're in slave. Again, we want to double check our channel to make sure our channel is the same thing that our transmitter is set to, and we understand that this is set to slave A. Now, let's say we're mixing this with an AD362, and that one is already set to group A. If we want to set this to group B, we just hit group. Now we're in group B. Okay? Up here, it's our zoom level. It defaults to 24 millimeters. If we want to change that, we can come over here and hit the zoom button on the menu and turn the zoom level up and down if we want more of a spotlight effect. I'm going to turn this back and lock it back in at 24. Same thing as any other speed light. We can turn in flash exposure compensation up and down here at the speed light. Again, not sure why you would want to do that, because you do that from the transmitter. And I think it's best to keep a workflow where you're constantly trying to do all these changes from the transmitter only. That way you don't have conflicting information out there and you're not sure what your speed light's set on. You can just look at your transmitter and set it there. Same thing as we did before. We can, boom, go ahead and do a test fire from our transmitter. Now, let's take a look at what's going on with our transmitter here. We can go in, and I'm going to change the transmitter to 1/64th power. You see that changed right here? As soon as I lock that in, I'm on B. You guys can see that. It's blinking. I'm just going to turn it up. I'm going to turn it up to, let's say, 1/16th power. Lock that in. What's it say right there? 1/16th power. Now let's say I want to change the mode. I want to turn it off. It says off. I want to turn it to TTL. Now we're back into TTL with this particular flash. I hit it again. I'm back in manual. You see it's back to 16th power. I turn that up and say I want full power out of this. I can do that. As soon as I lock it in on my transmitter, it shows up on the back of the flash. Let's do a test flash. Yeah, plenty of power there, right? So it's just as simple as that. Now, this funky little flash can also work as a master for our system. So it can replace the X1 transmitter. It doesn't have as many features, but let's look at that quickly. We can go back to our handy little ziggy-zaggy button over here. Takes us back to regular TTL. Takes us into the optical wireless system, and then now we want to stay here on the wireless, the radio system that's up here, and we want to be in master. Now when we're in master, we can control other off-camera flashes. Okay? You go into your menu, you can go into ratio, you can set a ratio between A and B, you can hit group to turn your settings up and down. If you want to give preference to A over B, you hit it one more time, you can add in another group. You can add in group C. As of right now, the TT685 can only handle 3 groups, whereas the X1 transmitter can handle 5. One really cool thing with the MoLight system, though, is as technology advances, as the factory, as the Godoc's factory finds new ways of doing things, all of our flashes, all of our transmitters can have the firmware updated, and that's one of the things that's being worked on right now, is to be able to give you 5 groups within the speed light as a master. Right now you can only do the 3. You can do the 5 groups on the X1 transmitter, but it's one of the firmware options that's being worked on right now, so be looking for that in the future. We can turn off ratio here and get back to regular master as well. Back to ratio. Now let's go over here. You know what? Let's go back to mode, because we can go over here to mode, and then now we can go A, B, C. We can control each one of those manually up and down. Turn them off. Turn A up to, let's say, 1/32. Let's go 1/16 power. Lock it in. I hit group again. Hit group again. It comes over to B. I'm at full power. I'm happy with that. Hit group. Come down to C, and let's say I want that to be 1/8 power. I can lock it in that way. So you can still use this with 3 different groups and build manual settings for your off-camera flashes. So these are feature-rich flashes, feature-rich transmission systems, and as we work on new firmware updates, new features will be coming down the road. So you can keep updating your gear. Holy cow, what a concept, right? You haven't really been able to do that with your Canon flashes and your Nikon flashes. With the MoLight flashes, we build in the opportunity for you to be able to update the firmware. So as new technology arises, we can update these flashes. For example, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the TT685 can control up to 3 groups. We're working on trying to get this up to 5 groups. As soon as that is released, I'll let you know. You can update the firmware and download it from my site. Or you can get it from the Godox site too. My manufacturer is Godox. Why do you buy from MoLight? You get me along with it. You get these trainings. You get me to answer your questions, and you get me to stand behind the equipment, which I always do.